Good morning, Chair Postman, Board Member Volendroff, staff and guests. The lobbies are open. Recording has begun.
Thanks, Justin. Good morning, everybody. I'll call order the Liquor and Cannabis Board meeting for it's not August 2nd, 2024. It's September 11th, 2024. Member Garrett is on leave today. We will start off with rulemaking timelines with Cassidy West, our policy and rules. Quick update. Morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Postman and Board Member Volendroff. Since I gave a pretty lengthy update yesterday, I will just give a brief high-level overview. So we have 12 rulemaking projects. About half of those are statutorily mandated. That was one legislative report, and we have 4 petitions. Those are the ones on title certificate holders that we're going to present next week at the the board meeting on the 20th.
Are those 4 petitions identical?
Yes.
Okay, so essentially one issue before us by petition.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
great, thank you.
Similar to how both Daniel and I did them last time when we had the grouping.
Okay.
So all projects are on track, except for we are extending the timeline for the 2151 lab accreditation, as well as the waste, just to allow time for stakeholder feedback and coordination with other agencies. We will have upcoming stakeholder engagement sessions on the minors on premises, and that will be on the 16th and 19th of this month. And then we will have the emergency liquor permits stakeholder engagement on the 30th of September and October 3rd. Other than that, we just have our 103s coming up at the next board meeting, assuming all goes well today with the public hearings. And then we'll have a public hearing for cannabis sampling too at the 25th. So, okay. Do you have any questions about the update? I was going to go right into my petition.
Nope, go right ahead. Thanks.
Great, thank you. This morning, I'll be presenting a petition response regarding a request to amend WAC 314-55-310, which governs cannabis transportation license requirements. The petition was submitted in July 2024 by Edgar Castaneda Zarate, representing Dos Transportation, and seeks to allow cannabis transportation licensees the ability to engage in cross-docking activities at their own fulfillment hubs. Currently, products must be delivered within 48 hours of pickup, and temporary storage at a facility is not allowed. The petitioner argues that this restriction creates inefficiency and safety risks, particularly due to the long driving hours and adverse weather conditions that drivers sometimes face. We do have, or we, the board, has a broad statutory authority to adopt rules. And so we analyze the petition through various lenses to create our recommendation for the board today, including statutory authorities, safety, equity, security, and alignment with board goals. For safety, cross-docking could help mitigate driver fatigue and improve public safety. There are commercial driving laws that talk about hours of service, so this is fairly standard in other industries. However, the proposal would require strong security measures to prevent diversion during temporary storage. This allowance could reduce barriers to entry, as well as lowering operational barriers and increase flexibility for operators. This could particularly benefit those new entrants into the market or smaller businesses and improve their competitive standing. We looked at security. And so while operational flexibility is positive, we have to ensure that the rules would have a robust security, traceability, and surveillance system so that, like I said, we would reduce the risk of threat or diversion. And then finally, alignment with the board's policy goals. This proposal does align with the board's goals to safety, improve operational efficiency, and promote market. Updated since 2016, making this a timely opportunity for modernization. We have not received any public comments while we had the petition posted online from stakeholders. However, many stakeholders have expressed an interest in us looking into these rules. So should rulemaking proceed, we do expect that there will be a robust engagement from the cannabis transportation sector. And with that, for the reasons outlined above, to improve safety, operational efficiency, and equity, the Director's Office staff recommends that the board accept the petition to initiate rulemaking to amend WAC 314-55-310.
Great.
Thank you.
Any question, for Cassidy, on this? No, I think it's great. It is the first time transportation's come before us since I've been here, at least in any way. So I'll be interested to hear how this goes. With it, then would accept a motion to accept the staff recommendation to accept the petition related to cannabis transportation licenses.
This is Jim, and I too support moving forward this petition to allow transportation licensees to cross dock at their own fulfillment hubs to organize shipments.
Great, and I'll second that, and that is approved unanimously. Thank you. Thank you. Next up, Daniel Jacobs, Policy and Rules Coordinator, will present the medical cannabis patient excise tax exemption implementation 103. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Postman, Member Vollandroff. This morning, I'm requesting approval of the CR 103 or rulemaking order on implementing Substitute House Bill 1453 on the medical cannabis patient excise tax exemption. If approved today, the rule language will be filed later this morning and effective October 12th. Substitute House Bill 1453 was passed during the most recent legislative session and went into effect on June 6th. It exempts cannabis sales from the 37% excise tax if all the following conditions are met. 1, the cannabis is purchased by a registered patient or designated provider with a recognition card. 2, the cannabis is Department of Health compliant. And 3, the retailer holds a medical cannabis endorsement. The LCB is given rulemaking authority to identify the records that need to be kept by retailers, demonstrating that these requirements are met. This tax exemption is currently scheduled to expire in June 2029. We held 2 stakeholder engagement sessions in early June and incorporated some of the feedback received into the draft rule language. We've amended 3 existing rule sections to address the new excise tax exemption, including 314-55-083 on traceability, 314-55-087 on record keeping generally, and 314-55-089 on tax reporting. These have all been changed to address the new requirements and to reference a new rule that we're creating at 314-55-090, which is dedicated solely to this new excise tax exemption. The thought behind creating a whole rule is based on past experience with the alcohol delivery allowances that were temporary during the pandemic, but then made permanent by the legislature. Similar to that situation, if the legislature decides to make this exemption permanent or to change it later on, we'll have a rule in place that we can then change or remove the expiration date of. Or alternatively, if they let it expire, then we can rescind the rule at that time. The language in 314-55-090 repeats the requirements of 1453, as well as requiring retailers to keep the following records for every sale where they are exempting the excise tax: the date of the sale, the unique identifying number from the recognition card, as well as its effective and expiration date, what product is sold that is having the excise tax exempted from it, and the sales price. There have been some other technical changes proposed to 314-55-087 and 089, such as updating LCB's mailing address and fixing some typographical errors, as well as changing the acronym from WSLCB to LCB, consistent with other rulemaking completed July 31st. Up to and during the public hearing, we received predominantly positive feedback. During the public hearing itself, a request was made to make clear that any patient information remains confidential per Department of Health statute at RCW 6951A-230. So we've added a provision to our new rule specifically stating that. Lastly, there's a brief discussion about requiring certificates of analysis to be uploaded via CCRS during the last board meeting. And I want to clarify that this rulemaking is not changing what quality assurance testing is required to be uploaded to CCRS. Quality assurance testing is already required to be uploaded to CCRS. And for DOH compliant product, heavy metal testing is considered as part of that quality assurance testing. And therefore, heavy metal testing for DOH compliant product is already required to be uploaded to CCRS. Because, in sort of logic terms, if A equals B and B equals C, therefore A equals C. Therefore, I'm requesting the board's approval for the CR 103 on implementing substitute House Bill 1453 on the medical cannabis patient excise tax exemption. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm just gonna have to trust you on that A equal B stuff. I didn't quite get it. I don't see any questions.
questions.
Is there a motion then to adopt the CR 103 to implement substitute House Bill 1453?
Yeah, this is Jim, and I move that we adopt the CR 103 for substitute House Bill 1453, the medical cannabis patient excise tax exemption implementation.
Great. I'll second that, and that is approved. Thank you. And
Thank you.
Ms. Jacobs, you're up again on CR 102 for cannabis payment flexibility.
Great. And that's I'm going to be just introducing the public hearing that we're going to hold on that here shortly. I know that there are 2 other public hearings scheduled for today, but this one is the younger step sibling of the other 2, I'll guess. And so I'm here to preview public hearing for cannabis payment flexibility. Assuming that there's no testimony that causes us to substantially change the proposed rule language, the final rules will be filed September 25th and effective October 26th. This project is amending WAC 314.55.115 on what methods cannabis licensees can use to purchase cannabis from other licensees, and is the result of a petition that the board accepted in March 2023. The CR 101 was filed May 8th, and a survey with draft rule language was posted on the LCB website from June 3rd through July 8th. Majority of the respondents were in the manufacturing side of cannabis and mostly supported the proposed rule changes. These survey results have been posted on the website as attached to the CR 102 memo. The only note of hesitation is that a decent portion of respondents expressed concern about an increase in NSF or insufficient fund issues, but as I'll shortly explain, these are already addressed in existing rule language. 314.55.115 identifies methods by which cannabis licensees can purchase cannabis from other licensees, and it identifies check, prepaid accounts, debit or credit card, electronic funds transfer, and using a money transmitter as those methods. The proposed rule language clarifies that, just as with the other payment methods, when paying with a check, a purchase order has to be done by an irrevocable invoice. Both parties have to keep records consistent with other LCB requirements, and the check has to be mailed no later than the next business day after cannabis delivery, and it has to be deposited no more than 5 business days post-cannabis delivery. We're also proposing to clarify that as used in the rule, the word delivery refers to delivery of cannabis as opposed to delivery of payment. And this is because, especially with checks, we talk about timelines from when payments delivered versus cannabis. So we just need to sort of clarify that we're talking about delivery of cannabis. We only received one comment on the CR 101, and that was asking about the issues related to NSF checks. So 314.55.115 already addresses NSF payments in Section 6, and it says that NSF issues have to be corrected by 3 p.m. on the business day after the NSF issue is reported. Otherwise, it becomes an impermissible extension of credit, which is already punishable in our penalty structure, and that penalty can be found in 314.55.523. As of this morning, we received one written comment that requests to remove the deadline requirement for depositing the check. My understanding is that this request will be repeated in testimony, and I'm happy to respond to any questions about that after the public hearing's concluded. And that's because during the public hearing itself, I'm not going to be able to answer any questions until the public hearing's ended. Thank you, and that's what I've got.
Okay, thank you. And with that, we will open the public hearing on the CR 102. And just so everyone knows, everyone who's signed up for the public hearing will have up to 3 minutes to speak just to the subject at hand. In this case, the proposal that Mr. Jacobs just outlined. As always, when we're in a meeting, we just ask everybody to be respectful of the other speakers. If you're in the room here, be mindful that the microphones in the ceiling are very sensitive and pick up any side conversations, wrinkling paper, anything of that sort. So let's just try to help out. And the whole meeting, of course, is recorded and will be available soon after the meeting online. And if you're signed up virtually, just give us 1 second. We'll call your name. We'll give you a minute to be found by Dustin here, and then you'll unmute and be able to go ahead. And again, you'll have 3 minutes, and at 2.5 minutes, Dustin will stop in just to make sure you know you have 30 seconds left, and then we'll ask you to wrap up at that. So with that, the public hearing is open on this one, and first person we have signed up online is Amber Vaughn. Amber, you should be able to go ahead.
Hello, I'm Amber Vaughn, the president of Terpene Transit. I'm also on the board at WACA, a trade organization for the cannabis industry. We, as a trade organization, support cannabis payment flexibility. We believe it will allowing retailers to mail a check for cannabis deliveries will help to ensure operational efficiencies that other businesses utilize regularly. Furthermore, I do believe, coming from the transportation sector, we're able to see a lot of different dynamics within the industry. It will overall improve compliance in the event that an invoice amount is changed from the point of order to the point of delivery. Sometimes what we experience is that the check denomination or check amount does not match the new invoice total that was sent. Given the fact that anybody who is a signer for a checking account is considered a TPI, there's minimal employees or staff at retail locations permitted to sign checks. So often they're left in advance. So what we see is a lot of product then needing to be returned to the point of origin, which given 48 hours can be complicated, or even for in-house deliveries, complicated given their 24 hours. Furthermore, it could reduce the potential of check fraud, limiting access to checks within, potentially high turnover retail establishments. It will assign the responsibility of that check only to management or long-term employees. Furthermore, it will reduce potentially cash exchange at the site of retail, hopefully minimizing any kind of theft or crime related to cash exchanges. Checks are already currently being mailed under the guise often that they are going to be ACHing the payment and then later mail the payment. I think that what this will do here is set reasonable parameters on the retailers regarding timelines on mailed payments and expectations. It kind of leaves a producer processor in a weird spot when they're told a payment's going to be ACH and then later it's mailed and they have no indication of when that's going to arrive. The one comment we do have, Daniel Jacobs has already addressed this, is regarding the deposit timeline. Mail is unpredictable. Personally, we experienced maybe 2 mail arrivals in the month of December last year at our own organization due to mail strikes and etc. So that's one factor. The
Amber,
other
you
one,
have 30 seconds.
the other one is banking for the cannabis industry isn't necessarily accessible. My bank at Terpene Transit is in Seattle. We're based in Bellingham. It will I think reasonable timeline is one thing. Setting 5 days is kind of a tricky measure. And I just really appreciate the opportunity to speak on CR 102 regarding cannabis payment flexibility. I think it'll be a healthy move for the industry, especially with the amendment to
Amber,
adapt.
that's your time.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is the only person we have signed up for that public hearing. So I now will close that public hearing. And before we go on to the next one, though, Mr. Jacobs, did you want to address the the one issue that was raised? Beyond what you had said before.
I certainly can. I'm in the process. I would just say that in terms of that sort of end date, I think that while LCB, we're still pretty. Our concern is that we do want to sort of have an end date to the timeline. But I think that I'm certainly I don't know why my light keeps doing this. I'm certainly sympathetic to sort of not being subject to the whims of the mail of the U.S. Postal Service, especially during the winter. And so I think that our rules team is going to circle back to this and sort of figure out. But I also want to, I do think we need to have an end point so that we have a limit, that it's just that a check can't get mailed and then like you have however long you want to deposit it. But I think that if we can figure out a way to tie that to a different measuring point, I think we're certainly interested in doing that. And, we'll be reconvening after. I'll be connecting with them in the next couple of days just to see if we can figure out some other benchmark to use.
Great. Good. Okay. Thank you. That sounds just right. Okay. Our next public hearing will be presented by Cassidy West.
Are we going to do the THC bill and then social equity in Quebec? Okay, great. Okay, this morning we'll be having a public hearing on proposed rules implementing engrossed second substitute Senate Bill 5367 concerning the regulation of products containing THC. The legislation was acted in July 2023, and we filed the 102 with proposed rules in July 2024. The proposed rules in the CR 102 filing included changes to the definitions section where we incorporated definitions from statute and other related definitions. We amended serving size requirements to consider that various types of compounds are on the market and could be present in products. And then we focused on packaging and labeling concerns to promote consumer transparency and safety. And overall, our goal was not to significantly increase the regulatory burden for cannabis licensees, as the legislation was intended to squelch products on the unregulated market. So we received no public comments besides the one that we received this morning. Comments that were received other than the one this morning were really more questions from hemp manufacturers asking what the requirements are and what detectable levels mean. Jennifer gave a great presentation yesterday on that. So, and then we have had a lot of conversations with public health and prevention. And so I expect they will be providing a comment today. And we look forward to hearing that, as well as from any other stakeholders. And that's it for this one, unless there are any questions.
I think we'll go ahead and open the public hearing on the CR 102 for engrossed second substitute Senate Bill 5367, concerning regulation of products containing THC. The first person we have signed up online for the public hearing is Caitlin Ryan.
Good morning. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Again, my name is Caitlin Ryan. I'm the Executive Director for the Cannabis Alliance. I'm here this morning to express our concerns about the ongoing rulemaking for ESSB 5367 and the impact that these proposed rules will have on the cannabis industry. We certainly appreciate the challenges the passage of this bill has presented in rulemaking. I do, though, wish that we had had the opportunity to comment on the CR 102 draft prior to its filing. And as a result, unfortunately, I'm here at the last minute providing you with feedback, and I'm afraid that it's going to, what I'm hoping you'll consider, probably will result in a supplemental 102. The most concerning aspect of the proposed rulemaking at this point is the requirement that the limits of the amount of any additional single THC compound be no more than 0.5 milligrams per serving, and that combined concentration of all the additional THC compounds to be limited to 1 milligram per serving. We sort of believe that this proposed rule is out of step with other states and will create unnecessary burdens on Washington's cannabis businesses, especially with regards to plant constituents that are fundamental to cannabis medicine. Specifically, the rule is vague in terms of what constitutes additional tetrahydrocannabinol, sorry, THC compounds. This lack of clarity makes it difficult for businesses to know exactly what is being regulated, which can lead to some confusion and potential compliance issues. Also, even the CR 102 states that research on cannabinoid compounds remains limited. So the scientific basis for this definition is vague at best. And while we do operate in a closed market, it is still in context of competitive products available on the internet. And this proposed rule is sort of out of alignment with regulations in other states and then also what's available in the unregulated market. We do think it's important to note that the existing cannabis market is already heavily regulated. We do believe in high standards for product safety, but in essence, these new rules sort of do place additional burdens on those already following the rules while doing little to address the problem of the unregulated cannabis sales. We do propose that LCB create a list of allowable cannabinoids for clarity's sake. And we also request that this list be something that could be easily modified over time as research evolves and we do know more. We think that doing this, you can support innovation in the industry, ensure patient access to necessary medicine, while ensuring that cannabis products remain safe for consumers. The list that we're proposing at this time includes THCV, CBG, CBN, CBGV, CBC, CBL, and CBDV. That's not exhaustive. That's sort of the list that we have at this time, and would really welcome an opportunity to collaborate further on that. Thank you again for your time and your consideration. And like I said, I appreciate the challenge here and hope that you're willing to continue this process so that we get it to where it needs to be.
Great, thank you. Next person signed up is Wendy Hull.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Good morning, board members. My name is Wendy Hull. I'm the owner of Fairwinds. We're a producer processor located down in Vancouver, Washington. I'm also a member of the Washington Cannabis Association. So I'll be speaking on behalf of both today. Overall, we support the approach outlined in this bill. One thing that we would like to reiterate, one of our understandings is that the compounds, kind of like what Caitlin spoke to, compounds though, such as CBG, CBGV, CBDV, a number of other compounds, including CBN and THCV, are exempt from the 0.5 milligram combined 1 milligram threshold. So it's our understanding that those are exempt. And based on that understanding, we do support this bill, but we also feel that there needs to be more specificity in this bill. We think it's important to list the compounds out so that down the road, 1 or 2 years down the road, there's no question on what compounds are exempt from this bill. We feel like that is very important based on some of the concerns that have been raised in the past with compounds. Also, noting that compounds are discovered all the time, and into the future, we think it's important to outline these compounds. But other than that, that feedback, we've provided written comments as well, and overall, with those changes, would support this bill.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate your comments. Okay, those were the only people I have signed up for that public hearing. So we'll now close the public hearing on the CR 102 for Senate Bill 5367. And we'll move to our next, which is the public hearing on Senate Bill 5080, expanding and improving the social equity cannabis program. Hello again.
Hello again. As you mentioned, we'll be having a public hearing today for rulemaking to implement and grow second substitute Senate Bill 5080, which focuses on expanding and improving the social equity and cannabis program. This legislation was also passed in the 2023 session and it seeks to address the social and economic disparities caused by the war on drugs by increasing opportunities for individuals from disproportionately impacted communities to participate in the cannabis industry. The rulemaking effort is focused on expanding eligibility criteria, refining the scoring application process, and establishing safeguards for equity and licensing. The CR 102 was filed in August 2024. The board approved it July 31st. And the proposed rules modify one section, WAC 314-55-570. We held significant stakeholder engagement, virtual hybrid sessions, as well as three different surveys, actually. And so we're really looking forward to stakeholder feedback today. And if no substantive changes are required after the hearing today, then we'll move forward with filing the CR 103 on September 25th. And thank you. Happy to answer any questions or add any more.
Thank you. Okay, we have a couple of people signed up for the public hearing on Senate Bill 5080 rulemaking. First person signed up online is Mira Zaida.
Okay, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Amira Ziada. I am with the Washington Cannabis Workers Club, which is a project of UFCW 3000, which is the largest union in the state of Washington. We, as you know, I think I testified before, we were on the Social Equity Task Force when that took place. And I have a couple concerns. One, I think, as I've said before, if we're going to be changing anything about the social equity program, it should be in line with what came out of the task force. And one of the parts that are confusing to me is the certificate holder part of the legislation. I believe that should be separate legislation. I don't really understand what it has to do with equity in cannabis. I believe my understanding is that there's a different type of different threshold for them to be able to get a license and move their license around. And I feel like if we're really trying to make sure that, Black and brown people and people who were affected by the war on drugs are getting an opportunity to enter into this industry and make it in this industry, that it's being a little bit diluted with this certificate holder part of the legislation. I understand they have to meet some requirements under social equity, but as you've heard from other people and that we've seen, there's a lot of loopholes around that. People can just ask someone to sign on and be part of their license so that they can move it. I just think that part should be revisited and probably, considered for some different kind of rulemaking or different legislation so that we can keep the integrity of the intent of the social equity program. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for your comments. Next person signed up is Peter Manning.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good afternoon, board member, chair Postman and board member Valandrov. My name is Peter Manning. I'm a representative of Black Excellence Cannabis, the president, actually. I have some concerns about the rubric and the proposed rubric. I think that, we probably, the first rubric that we did that was successful with 2870, like I said, I believe the success rate that reached our community were at 75%. I know that worked as far as when it pertained to Seattle. we're still waiting to get data from the LCB as to what nationalities got the licenses of the 40 licenses, what nationality came out the winner, but you guys are taking the 40 points away from those people and you're dropping it down to 15 for the income. I think that's wrong. I think that black and brown people have suffered economically in this country, and that is a strong indicator there that should have stayed in the rubric the way it was. I think you guys are trying, and I don't know if it's the LCB or WACA that's running things, but this new rubric is tailored to fit more whites than it is that of black or brown, and title certificate holders should not be a part of this. This is not equity for them. This is equity for the black and brown community. They were victims of the LCB intentional disregard for them in the industry, the inclusion thereof, I believe. I also believe that the mobility, it's an insult to have a guy that got under the 2870 to get a license in Skagit County. He had 120 points and he outdid somebody in Seattle that had 250 in King County. Now you guys are going to allow them to move anywhere. I don't think that's going to work out legally. I just don't. I think you guys are going to have some hurdles there in the courts. I don't think that's equitable or fair. Another thing, I don't think the DI points for the dispensaries in you guys have moved that down to 25 points and 5 points for dispensary owners. Once again, it's an attack on black people that had dispensaries that the LCB closed
Peter,
out of the industry.
Seconds.
So I think, Mr. Postman, you guys are just, I really truly believe that Walker's running things down there. I believe that this is the same blueprint Walker wanted to run back when the Social Equity Task Force was in. This is their blueprint. Postman, who's running stuff? Or is it you or is it Walker? And I heard Jeannie McShane was fired. Is this true? Thank you.
Those are the only people we have signed up online for this. Is there anybody signed up in the room for this public hearing? Did we get? No?
You should have it underneath.
Okay. Just general comments, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, no, yeah, we do. I'm sorry. Here it is. Too many piece of paper. Mike Sy.
Good morning. My name is Mike Asai. I am Vice President of Black Excellence Cannabis. I'm also a pioneer with Emerald City Collective, first downtown Seattle dispensary unjustly shut down. In regards to the draft rules of 5080, LCB, you're listening. I will give you that. But it's hard to give you that because I'm saying you're listening because, you took stuff away and then you put it back in. That makes no sense. It's like we have to waste time and energy to say, hey, why are you removing something that was in the rulemaking prior? And then we have to yell and scream for you to put it back. So I guess it's a form of listening. Certificate holders need to be removed from the program. You guys know this will be a detriment to social equity. Certificate holders, they got a license in 2015, 2016. They qualify. Why do they need to be hijacking the program? It's going to dilute it. It's not right. Yeah, I supported it once, but once I found out exactly the details of it, there's nobody black that has a certificate. Nobody. And there's 40-something certificate holders, and they're probably all white because there's nobody black. The mobility, it's an insult. Here's the numbers: 250, 280, 260, 270, 220. These are people with scores that did not get across the finish line. So, you can't change the goalposts and say, well, apply for a county. And then now you got some white folk who got these licenses under social equity and they want to hijack the rules of 5080 saying, well, our license can be mobile after 2024. That's just, I don't know if it's racist. I don't know what it is, but it's unjust. You just cannot let this happen. This 90-day period, this mobility, no. You cannot change the goalposts. If people that had 250, 280, if they knew that their license could be mobile, they would apply for Kickatas County. They would have applied for Lopez. There were 6 licenses that nobody applied for because nobody wanted them. But I guarantee you, these people with 250, 280, 260, 270, 220 who did not get a license, had they known, oh, let me just go ahead and get that license in Lopez Island, it could be mobile. Come on, that's not right. The rubric points, this is an insult. This is an attack on pioneers. The points for...
Mike, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. Listen, why are you guys lowering points for pioneers? Senate Bill 5131 was the rubber stamp that you guys had an agency-led bill and you got rid of the pioneers in 2017 when you were supposed to open up the licensing again. Now here we are, we have to fight and tell you, why are you lowering these points? These points should be raised. If anything, stay the same, but they shouldn't be lowered. They should be raised. Let's get this right. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Bryce.
Hello, my name is Paul Bryce, retail owner, Happy Trees. I don't want to go down all the titles, I only have 3 minutes. Rubik score, or even the success of social equity. I don't understand how we can even try pushing 50, 80 out. You know, being part of the task force, seeing all the graphs of how many white people, how many of our Asian, how many of Black. 0 studies have been shown to us anywhere. Anywhere have we seen any studies of results? And we're trying to just push this next one through because we know it's flawed. And we know we can wrap this up and then we can just completely dismantle social equity. And then we can give it to a lot of people who was not intended to go, again, Black or brown, but yet we can't say that no more, but we can have selective understanding when we want to have selective understanding. We wanted to roll this out. So we said, hey, we won't take the lawsuits right now. Let's roll it out. And now that we see it's flawed, we're going to keep, like I already said, LCB is the most guilty for see something, say something. That's why we're in this situation. We know what the task is, what we're trying to get done, but yet we're going to keep pushing as if, you know, hey, LCB is the pioneers. We didn't have everything right. And we're going to go ahead and allow this to be wrong. I mean, take the lawsuit. You know, you're going to get lawsuits from everyone. So if you're going to release this, you know, this is all about inclusion for what's the lack of, you know, Black or brown representation, but we're pushing things that we know that are not going to be for Black or brown, and everyone seems to be okay with it. And again, we don't, how, you know, I was a biology major till I caught a double felony charge my senior year in college with a 3.86 GPA. I mean, I understand what studying is. And I understand what being a part of this program for 5 years and seeing all the studies, hearing all the studies, to try to push through this next part without seeing any of the studying just seems, I don't know if it's just, there's just no words for it. You know, myself, I scored 255 points. I did not qualify for this program. I'm a nigga from the street, a true SCA. I deserve to have one of these licenses, but yeah, I don't get one.
Paul, you have 30 seconds.
You know, again, DIA, once established for DIA, always a DIA. You can't give someone a DIA and say, hey, you survived a DIA, and now we're going to take away the DIA from you because now it's a great area, supposedly. Like, I watched my neighborhood park get removed because there's so many shootings in South Tacoma. Raised since 3 years old, South Tacoma, Manitou area. Like, I'm not hearing that that's some great, none of you guys would have raised your kids in this area. None of you guys would have sent any of your kids to the parks in these areas. And yet now it's no longer DIA. And again, yeah, we're all in agreement with title certs. It's just absurd to sit there and say any white person can now find any person off the street that lived in a DIA made under 88,000, say, hey, jump in with me. We'll have a management contract. And now I become an SCA with all Black or brown. Ridiculous.
That we will close the public hearing on Senate Bill 5080. And that is the end of all of our public hearings. We'll now turn to general public comment. I think everyone knows rules. It's 3 minutes, 30 seconds. You'll get a warning that your time is running out. We'll ask you to wrap up. As always, we'll start online. The first person we have signed up is Christopher Kennedy. You should be able to go ahead.
Great morning, folks. Listen, first off, I spoke with Scott McKinley after Canada Fest rather, and I know that they got the runaround big time on that whole thing. The landowner in Arlington got threatened, but then there was not one but two permitting events in Seattle, and then those were yanked away, and they had to issue a public retraction and then move the events again, and Seattle Parks and Recreation and you guys they're going to stall on providing my public responses to my public records request, as you always do. It's your modus operandi. I'll be dragged out. I bet you'll be sitting here a year from now waiting for documents that I just asked for about that whole event because something was shady up there. And I'm not sure exactly what it is, but something's not right about that. And we all know it, okay? And they're stonewalling Scott right now on the Halloween party at Gasworks that he's trying to put together. I just talked to him. It's a fact. You guys are shady. Next. Now, I met Amira at Katana Fest also, and I spoke with her. And she's right. The certificate holders are not part of the social equity deal, okay? I told you for Mount Vernon about 16 months ago before I lived here that the abuse would ensue with fake entities and straw people. And sure enough, that's what we're looking at. And once again, King Cast is right. Okay, and also dropping the affordability points from 40 to 15, that's ridiculous. And the notion of all drugs counting, that's further ridiculous. It's all dilution. And it's all driven by like your corporate cronies and Waka and all those people. It's a fact. What you just did to Libby Haynes and her appeal is ridiculous. What happened with that whole situation? She was clearly involved in a cannabis-related offense by the level of punishment and her own sworn testimony that was disregarded by the hearing officer. All right, but the system let her down again, the same way that they flip-flopped on the spousal requirements under I-502 and kept her out, only to reverse those requirements later and keep that fine sister out. Yeah, that fine brown sister out. Okay, next, the board and Waka continue influences to try to dilute social equity, like I said. And the only time David Postman offers comment in meetings is to put us down when we complain about situations, and he goes to protect his people and says, "Oh, those are hardworking people," and all this, that, and the other. But if you ask him a question that he's not comfortable with, he's not going to respond to anything. Okay, and that's content-based and viewpoint-based discrimination. Every day it is. All right, selective, and it's completely inappropriate of a public official. If you don't like what we're saying, just keep your mouth shut the same way you keep your mouth shut when I ask you a question that you don't want to answer. All right, let's try that. Okay. So, everybody knows the LCB is run by, your largely white cronies and Waka. And the
Christopher, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. The stranger even said it back in 2019. Vicki Christopherson, the woman who runs weed policy in Washington State. Vicki Christopherson is the most powerful person in legal pot history. It's a fact. I'm not just saying it. All right. Listen, the LCB, as it stands today, is a cancer on cannabis. All right. And for Black and Brown, unfortunately, I'm sad to say it has metastasized. Have a good day. See you soon.
Next person signed up is Sammy Saad.
Okay, thank you so much. Oh no, they answered the phone. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry about that because I was calling. I thought you guys would skip me. That's why I didn't know you guys have a new. I just want to thank everybody and to let everybody know who I am. I am the first medical cannabis in Washington, and I'm a victim of the LCB back then, and they closed us down because they lied to us. They tell us we're gonna make it category 1 and 2 and 3, and you guys gonna get the license first. I didn't get that license, and I've been forced out, unfortunately. And we was fighting, and I'm bilingual. I believe when they said the HB 2870, they're gonna add more license. I have a lot of group of people. I am one of the spokesman of the Sudanese community and Sudanese American community and the East African American community. As just our community is more than 65,000 Washingtonian, and they fought with me, and they even have my name in King 5 News. And at the time, Eli Garrett was there, Peter Money was there, and as well as I think Marcus High, and they did great. But the thing is, you guys not acknowledged. You guys took from us, and they said in the HB 2870. We're gonna add more license for the social equity for the people they lost. We took their shop and we lied to them, in a different way. We took their shops and we're gonna, give them those again back. And at the time I was fighting, and all my people, they voted and they were supporting Pettigrew, and he's a Democrat. And at the time they said, oh, okay. So we went there. Peter Manny told me, oh, this is not for us. I don't vote for this. And he was right. Peter, he was right. But unfortunately, I didn't know inside. That's why I don't like court. When you guys say court, you should detail. I don't want to know what 28.7 is. Tell us what it means. What it means is a trick. They didn't give us our shops. After that, they add to it. The people went to prison. Oh, that's okay. But we find out at the time it was 13 license only. And the 13 license, when we opposed it, they told me, Mr. Saad, why? I said, they lied to us. Even Ellie Garrett, she said she will help me. And she hurt my feeling. I called her, Ellie, you told me you're going to help me. She said, do not call my phone again. Maybe she have a bad day, but it hurt me. Later, I find out, I'm not going to lie, I'm not accusing her, but I find out she was dating someone. His name is Jim Buchanan. He have multiple cannabis shop. And he's a partner with, it's called Emil Hayes. And after that, we find Greener today or something like that. So, and after that, one of board member, he have a retail shop and he's in Eastern Washington. And a lawyer have a shop. Sami Saad being forced out. Sami Saad lost his case now in the war.
You have 30 seconds.
Because a Democrat, they making the issue in Sudan like between two generals, and it's a lie. And it's a outside agenda to divide our country because of gold mining there. Now they make it to here, to this cannabis. I wanted to make something to help people lost their keys because I lost my keys because of Democrat affecting Sudan because equaling the militia with the official army of Sudan, not respecting our Sudanese president. So they will, of course, they will disrespect you. If you guys didn't give the pioneer first, you guys stink. And I don't believe in you guys. And nobody believe in you again. And Democrat, they fail. They fail in the issue in Sudan. They don't vote Democrat.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Saad. Next person signed up is Tamiko Henry. You should be able to go ahead. You should be able to unmute there, Tamiko Henry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, good morning. Thank you. I just want to say the LCB, from what I've seen, has done a great harm to the Black.
You just muted. So if
Okay.
you want to, why don't you go ahead and start over? We'll start your time over.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. The LCB, from what I've seen, has done a great harm to the Black and Brown communities. And I want to give a big thanks to Black Excellence in Cannabis for bringing the light to the shortcomings of the LCB.
Looks like you muted again, Tamiko. Sure why that's happening. It seems to just be going on and off, but it's muted now. Oh, okay. We'll check back and see if he's able to join us later in the meeting. Next person signed up is Jamar Urban. Okay, you should be able to go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Jamar Irving. I think the LCB is a racist organization and needs to be replaced. They have devastated the Black and Brown community.
He just dropped.
Okay.
Maybe he's not. Okay, next person signed up is Peter Manning. Okay, you should be able to go ahead. Mr. Manning, you should be able to unmute and go ahead. Let's go to the next. We'll come back again. Lily Castillo.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Um, I think it's a terrible thing that the state of Washington has done to Black and Brown communities, and I'm concerned about this because of the disparities in Black and Brown communities. I think this would further cause disproportion in their communities with the exclusion of them from the cannabis industry, and I'd like to give thanks to Black Excellence in Cannabis for fighting the fight.
Okay, thank you. Let's go working backwards now. Peter Manning, are you able to join us? Hold on one second. We'll find you again.
Once again, thank you, Chair Postman and Board Member Valendroff. My name is Peter Manning, President of Black Excellence Cannabis. I'd like to just reiterate a couple of things. The rubric that you guys are proposing now and those changes that you guys have made, they don't fit the targeted people that 2070, which I worked on, Black Excellence Cannabis, 5080, which we worked on, Black Excellence Cannabis. We understand the mechanisms and the inner workings of it. So does the LCB. We believe that outside influences that have deep pockets control what goes on in the LCB. It's just a fact, because I don't understand how something could work for our community and then in mid-flight it changes. And it changed because it did not hit the targeted white sector. It actually targeted and hit Black. And see, listen, I went to a white event that was held by whites, and it was a farm setting. It was just jubilant, and it was consumption of various forms of marijuana and THC products. No LCB in sight. Went to an event hosted by a Black organization, WCWC, and there was LCB members everywhere, and they were harassing people. It's just indicative of the LCB to just not like Black people. When you guys were the Liquor Control Board, it was the same way. There were 3 liquor licenses handed out to Black people in the state of Washington. I mean, come on, Chair Postman. Listen, you have such dirty laundry with inside the LCB that you guys got to shake up. Just letting Gina McShane go is not good enough. Nicola Reed needs to go. Rebecca Smith needs to go. These people need to go. We have enough damning evidence on these guys to show that they were in collusions, that there was something going on. We most definitely believe wholeheartedly that your agency has been corrupted, and Black people have suffered that. I look at everybody that come on here with long pockets. They can take time to get educated on what they're doing. They have a 10-year head start on Black people starting out now. A lot of us for the last 10 years have been fighting economically to stay afloat. To stay afloat. You know that you guys gave whites 10 years advantage over the Black and brown people. There needs to be some type of reparations for that, Postman. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's the last person signed up online, and then back to the room, Mike Asai.
Once again, good morning. Mike Asai, Vice President of Blacks and Cannabis, also founder of Emerald City Collective. Social equity program, the topic. Let me just say this. It's been a trying week for me. My mom was in the hospital for a week fighting for her life. By the grace of God and prayers, she's home now, but she's recovering. She's on oxygen. So I'm wondering where Ollie Garrett is, because I'm pretty sure Ollie was at her Tabor Gala over the weekend. Today's an important day in regards to social equity. So I hope Ollie's okay. But understand, I'm here when I could be right next to my mom right now, helping her heal. You know, having the LCB, and this is something that I've been thinking about for a long time, having the LCB implement social equity is really like a rapist doing their own sentencing. That's what we have here. We have the perpetrator trying to do social equity. And, you know, you guys just truly are not listening. You say you're listening, but you're not. Because if you're listening, then you would have raised the points for pioneers. You would make the pioneers a priority. Senate Bill 5052 in 2015 was based off the criteria like myself, Paul Bryce, Peter Manning, who actually did the right thing, who was licensed, paid taxes, and matter of fact, had marijuana and cannabis on their incorporation. You guys were told this by somebody in 2016. Are you looking at their incorporations to make sure people qualify? No, you didn't care. You just wanted the white people who had a lottery to get more licenses. And then you just wanted white people in this industry, period. That's just what it is. And as Peter said, my question, yeah, how many right now, currently, how many blacks have liquor licenses? That's the question that we should find out. We need an answer to. Walker, all around. Look, Director Lucella, I don't mean to call you out, but I have to, because here's the deal. September 19, 2023, when I came down here to speak on behalf of some people, I spoke with Aaron Washington. As I'm in the lobby, because we met with you, Director, on August 30th, my grandma's 95th birthday, 2023. And when we met with you, we was excited, but we met you down here in the basement over there. When I was in the foyer talking with Aaron Washington, which I didn't like, I said, can we talk in the room? I see you come out of the room, I see you come out of the elevator with white folk from the cannabis industry. That really bothered me. And you know why it bothered me? Because it showed me, well, white folk can go up to the penthouse, but when black people schedule a meeting, we're down here in the basement. We did have a follow-up meeting with you, Director, with Justin and others, and we were up there. But that was because we had made it a point and we voiced our displeasure to representatives and senators. And I'm not sure if that got back to you or not, but understand this, that showed the level of disrespect as your new director to the black community, because this agency has been racist, is continued to be racist.
Mike, that's your time.
And we need this agency removed from cannabis. Thank you.
Paul Bryce.
Hello, Paul Bryce again. Right now, just opened up in Prosser. Yeah, I drove down here. When I leave here today, I'll drive 4 hours to get back in Prosser. I applied originally for Tacoma, missed Tacoma, then applied again for the social equity, missed this one again. You know, getting back to the graph. You know, look who's here. Look who's talking. Look who's showing up. Let's not be silly. When we say address social equity, we don't mean for white people. We know what it's meant for. And on top of that, like, again, why we can't have no research numbers or studies to show how many of these licenses went to, say, a sole proprietor, a individual black person versus whoever signed the right management contract where the black person's another Sean Kemp. I mean, again, you know, if we asked all the winners to be here, I guarantee you we wouldn't be looking at a predominant black room, black or brown room. It's just not, wouldn't be the case. I mean, I know for a fact there's some individuals that walked away, groups that walked away with 12 licenses. 12 licenses, that's almost half. Another group, 4 licenses. Again, all managed by a white person at the very top. Like, you have to want to have actual success for this program. Again, see something, say something. So guilty of it, like not wanting to bring the facts that you know you don't want to see, because you want to just ramrod this through and have it just, oh, well, it didn't work out right. And again, 5 years later, this is the outcome of it. This is what we're seeing. You know, and just getting back to the whole title search, to remotely let people be a part of this small select group, even for the next round. Again, it's because whatever new license types that you guys know are going to be very valuable, you know, you want to make sure all your friends are also involved with, you know, I know without a doubt that's a big part of just making sure this gets through, so we can just award a bunch of other people, and you know, it can just be something different. You know, the fact that I've been, you know, a mentor for this social equity program, and now because supposedly I'm a part of it, I can't even be a mentor.
Oh,
be
you
a
have 30
part of
seconds.
this group, you know, it's just knowing that we have ponders or whatnot where they say, no, we can no longer gather or unionize. You know, we're all adults, you know, there's a reason why that's being repressed, or, you know, we can't come to light because no one wants to see the truth of how this really rolled out. And you guys are still obviously just trying to make this push out while you know it's flawed.
And that is the last person we have signed up. And with that, we will adjourn, and we do have an executive management team meeting this afternoon. So we're adjourned. Thanks.